In this mini lecture, I am going to talk about an algorithmic approach to exchange the contents of two memory locations or exchange the values contained in two variables. So let us say A is 20 and B is 30. Normally, you'll think when you're just new to logic, what is the big deal? Take the value of B, copy it to A, and then take the value of A and copy it to B. I'll tell you what will happen if you do that. So, suppose you write something like this. You say A is assigned the value of B. So, what will happen is 30 will get copied to A. And what you're doing in the next step is you're trying to copy the value of A back to B. Now, we'll draw a test plan and you'll know what is the problem. Suppose I have a table like this. These are the values of A and B. So if I follow this particular logic, in step 1, A is 20, B is 30. When I say A is assigned the value, sorry, B is gives the value to A, or A is assigned the value of B, then A becomes 30, B also becomes 30. Now the problem with this is you have lost the 20 totally. There is no way you can get it back. Then when you do B is assigned the value A, you are simply copying the value of 30 back to, sorry, the 30 back to B here. So do not think you can exchange the value of two memory locations by this particular logic. A very simple idea is you could use a third memory location called as temp. What you could have done is you could have copied the value of A to temp. This way 20 would have been copied, and if you had taken the value of B and copied it to A would have been 30, B would have been 30, no problem. But in this step what you could have done is you could have copied the value of temp into B. Since temp contained 20, then in the next step A would have been 30 and B would have been 20. So this is the way you're going to exchange the value of two memory locations or two variables using a third variable. So in order to do this particular problem, I'm going to use three variables. Let's call it as A, B and temp. So when I use these three variables A, B and temp, that forms my first step. So in my first step, I'm saying A, B and temp are the three memory locations I'm going to use. Then what is the next step? I have not purposely initialized it because it doesn't make sense to initialize, because I need to read the values of A and B and then only go ahead with the exchange. In step number 2, what I'm doing is I'm asking the user to enter the value of A and B. So I'm reading the value of A and B from the keyboard. And then what I'm doing is I'm trying to do this particular process. First, what I need to do is I need to take the value of A and copy it to temp. So the logic for that is temp is assigned the value of A. So once temp gets the value of A, then I can say A takes the value of B. And the third step is going to be B takes the value of temp. So this is how your logic is really going to look like. So in the third step, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say A value is copied over to temp. Then B's value is copied over to A, not a problem because I have a copy in temp. And in the third step, the last step part, I am copying over the value of temp, which was the original value of A, back into B. And what I can do is in step number 4 and 5, I can print out what is the output. So in step 4 and 5, I am saying after exchange, the value of A is this much. After exchange, the value of B is this much. So what we'll do is we'll try to do a dry run. So once you do a dry run, things will be pretty clear to you. So here, although I have not given the values of A, B and temp as 0, they'll contain some random values, not necessarily 0, because I have not taken the effort to give them any initial values. So for example, this could be 10, this could be 9, this could be minus 10, anything. The computer just gives it some random values. Then what I am doing is this step is not there because I am not giving it any initial values, so it will take certain random or unpredictable values. I am reading the value of A and B. Let us say A is 10 and B is 20. The value of temp doesn't change because I am only reading A and B. In the next step, what I am doing is I am copying the value of A into temp. So temp should have got 10 in the next step. So if you see here, the value of A is copied to temp, or temp is assigned the value of A. So temp becomes 10. Now A is assigned the value of B. That means A gets the value of B. So what is A now? A is also 20, B is 20, temp remains 10. You are okay because the value of A is kept here as a copy. Now what you will do is you will say B is assigned the value of temp. At this point A doesn't change, B becomes 10 and temp remains as it is. So now if you print the value of A and B, A is 20, B is 10. So this is one way of trying to exchange two numbers using a temporary variable. There are at least two ways of doing this exchange, and a lot of times in the campus interviews you are asked, without using a temporary variable, tell us at least one different way of exchanging the contents of two variables. I'll just give you a hint. I want you to spend a little time on your own to write an algorithm to exchange the contents of two variable locations without using a temporary location. I'll give you a hint. Think of using the very basic mathematical operators like plus, minus, or one of them or both of them, and using them try to come up with the logic. And if you use just plus or minus, you will not require the temp variable. You will just require A and B, and you will be able to exchange or swap. Exchanging is also called swapping, SWAP. And you will, believe me, you will be hundreds of times using this particular logic to exchange the contents of two memory locations. So I want you to try to exchange the contents of two variable locations without using a temporary location. Now you may say, how do I check the program? I've already given you, just create a table. For each of your step, note down the value of A and B and see what is happening to their values. If at the last step you're seeing the values exchanged, then your logic is correct. If you find something going incorrect, that means your logic, there is some error or some mistake in the thought process. Then recorrect your flowchart. Recorrect your algorithm. I'll just give an example. When I was a student, this problem was given to me, okay, during normal classes, and it took me a day to figure out the logic because no hint was given that I could use arithmetic operators. So a little bit of effort is required since I've already given you almost the answer. So just using plus and minus, there is a way of exchanging the value of A and B. So please make an effort, solve this problem because this is your first step to learning programming logic. Once you start finding solutions to problem like this, you will get interested, you will get hooked, and it is very addictive. It will give you a lot of pleasure solving logical problems. Do not skip this particular exercise and test it on your own. Maybe in one of the solution videos later on, I'll give you the solution so you can just verify it if you did not get it. But please make an effort on your part.